All right, we're back. Just rare Elvis photos. Earlier today, I read some of the Elvis and Kathy book, and we also had a little video on Karina Lord. Good Lord, her opinion on Elvis is the lowest of lowest. Check out this cool little Elvis card. It's a Netherlands, 1960, I believe this card came out. Could be one of the 58 Netherlands cards. Anyhow, so I promised I was going to read some more. Wasn't sure whether I was going to read some more Child Bride. Read some more on My Army Days with Elvis, or From Here to the Great Unknown. We're going to do From Here to the Great Unknown, and then this evening I'm going to read some of Johnny's book, which is really funny, full of a bunch of funny stories in here. Johnny spent a couple of years with Elvis over there in Germany, really about a year or so with Elvis, playing football over there and hanging out with them and going to fun little events with Elvis, and just great stories about Elvis Presley. Nice, positive, wholesome book, My Army Days with Elvis. You can find it on Amazon, and support Johnny. I think he's 91 now. He signed this book to me and sent it to me in the mail. His buddy Keith actually sent it to me in the mail from Johnny. So, all right, let's look at where we're at on From Here to the Great Unknown. Let's see. We are going to go, I believe we are right here, I think. Getting closer here. I know y'all probably know. Elton John, We Had Tea. Authority Figures talked about Vernon not liking Vernon. And then when she burnt her leg, she got a little slap on her hand. So, and then we talked about Upstairs at Grayson's just as we left it, so you can really feel his presence. A little poem that was up there called Why God Made Little Girls. And here we go. This is it. This is where we left off. All right, they were always out there, the fans, sitting on the fence or in the trees right by the carport. Next door was woods and a church. Creepers could just come in and sit on the side of the fence or sit in a tree outside the fence, and they would, all day and all night. Literally just sit there and watch. There were certain watchers who had a monopoly on a certain tree. They'd be there just to watch my dad walk out of the house and into the car. There was nothing we could really do because it was a church property. It was forbidden to go into the woods. My dad would not allow it. It was absolutely out of the question. I wasn't supposed to, but I would drive in my golf cart real fast and close by the fans and yell obscenities at them like, F you, F you, F you. I can't say it, and I need to block that out or YouTube won't like it. They just sit there and smile and wave. Sometimes a fan would jump the fence and there'd be all points bulletin. Security would come find me. Get in the house. Somebody's going to attack you and unalive you. Once they had the person arrested, I would come back out. There were always so many people at the front gate at any given time of day, even in the middle of the night. Still are, by the way. I've never seen anybody at the front gates of Grayson, not ever. Back then, they were waiting to get a glimpse of Dad coming in or out, or me, or someone, whoever was in the house. At some point, I had a bright idea. The fans outside always wanted me to take their camera and take a picture of my dad. Give me $20 and I'll take a picture of him, I'd say to the Uber fans by the fence. Sure enough, they'd give me $20, then I would go into the house and take a picture of the floor. I'd give the camera back and say, here's a picture of the door and the floor. I started doing that regularly. I took a fan's camera at one point, but I got bored and didn't feel like taking pictures, so I just threw it in the bushes. I did feel horrible about it, though I did it more than once. My Uncle Vester, who worked the front gate security, would walk up to the office and say, Lisa's taken someone's camera again. Should we try to find it? Years later, someone came up and said to me, you took my camera when I was at the front gate and you never came back. I said, oh God, I'm so sorry. I was Eloise at the plaza. I'm not proud of it. That's cute. So Riley's speaking here. Every year, we went to Grayson for the annual candlelight vigil, which commemorates Elvis's death, a time when thousands of people attend from all over the world. I must have been around 20 years old this particular year, and I watched as an older fan. One clearly from Elvis's generation hugged my mom. That fan was there every year, so I recognized her. But this time I was really watching their interaction. I became keenly aware of my mom's body language in a different way. I guess because I was older. And the way that my mom surrendered to this woman broke my heart. In that moment, I saw so clearly that she was searching for a parent, which Priscilla never was and never could be. Now, I added that. It's my opinion, and I think it's your opinion as well. But that's what Riley's saying to Prissy B, to Scylla, to Prissy, to Pissy. I don't know if I forgot what you guys call her. I mean, Prissy is the name that we call her, right? Anyways, I get in trouble for saying too much here. Graceland just brought mayhem. This is Lisa. My dad would get bored riding all over the place, so sometimes he would say to me, get on the golf cart, Lisa. And with 8, 9, or 10 carts behind us, he would lead the convoy right out the front gate onto Elvis Presley Boulevard and down the street. People would be screaming and yelling out of their cars. Well, he got a new motorcycle that had a little sidecar on the right side of it, and he was excited about it. He pointed to the sidecar, looked at me, and said, get in. We flew out the front gates, right around the residential neighborhood behind Graceland, and then back into the house. He was riding safely, but I was terrified. Going to his shows was my favorite thing in the world. I was so proud of him. He would take me by the hand and bring me out on stage, then get walked to wherever his place was on the stage. And I would be taken from him and brought to wherever I would be sitting in the audience, usually with Vernon. The electricity of those shows, there's nothing I felt that's been ever close to that feeling. Electrifying is such a generic word, but it really is what it felt like. I loved watching him perform. I had certain songs that I liked, Hurt and How Great Thou Art. I would ask him to sing those songs for me, and he would always say yes. That's a wonderful side of Lisa that all of these haters that are out there that continue to say all the bad things about her, just need to understand that's great character that she liked Hurt and How Great Thou Art. Two very deep songs, two very emotional songs that spoke to her. Yeah, I know we just read about some stories about her taking cameras and throwing them in the bushes or taking pictures of the floor. But I think that she was a little scared of the fans when she was younger. Anyhow, and maybe she was trying to get back at him, which she's 9 years old. She should have had somebody say not to do that, like Uncle Vester. I did not, however, like having the limelight shown on me, or being asked to stand up in front of everybody. In Vegas, during his residency, he introduced Vernon, then looked at me, and I remember thinking, oh, God, no. God, please don't. Lisa, stand up. It's not that I wasn't proud or that I didn't love him. I just liked the limelight on him, loved it on him. It was not something that came to me inherently. I absolutely abhorred it. So think about that, too. Elvis craved attention. He loved attention. He loved to entertain from the time he was younger. You got all the stories about him in high school dressing funky, pink and black, all cool like that, and singing in the hallways and singing at the apartments and all that other stuff. Lisa was opposite. She didn't want the limelight. She didn't want the limelight, and it came with being the daughter of Elvis. Whereas Priscilla liked the limelight. She liked the attention. She thrived on it. But in other less public ways, I loved basking in his fame with him. In Los Angeles, I went to school at John Thomas Dye, up in the hills of Bel Air. I still sometimes drive by it just to remember the day my dad came to a parent-teacher conference. I knew he was coming, and I couldn't wait. I could feel the teachers' nervousness and excitement, too. My little student friends were so excited that I got even more excited. Everybody was just running around crazy. Then my dad showed up. He got out of the car, and he had on a respectable outfit, black pants and some kind of blouse, some sort of a shirt, obviously what you're saying. But he was also wearing a big, majestic belt with buckles and jewels and chains, as well as sunglasses, and he was smoking a cigar. I met him at the car, and I walked up the hallway with him, and I just remember that feeling of walking next to him, holding his hand. It's like a little princess walking next to a king. That's how she felt. That's cute. So, this is Riley. Sometimes, when I watch videos of Elvis performing, I think about the fact that if he hadn't done exactly what he did in exactly that moment in time, if he hadn't walked into the right building, recorded the right song, danced the way he did in front of the right person, there would be no Elvis Presley. we probably would have lived somewhere in Mississippi. I didn't even finish high school in this version of my life, so I can't imagine where I'd be in that one. My great grandfather drove trucks. Maybe we would have carried on that tradition. Maybe we would have made furniture in Tupelo. My mom would have ended up in jail for sure. Now, once again, Riley. No. If Elvis wasn't famous, you wouldn't exist. Lisa wouldn't have existed. And I think sometimes people forget to write that and think about that. Lisa wouldn't have ended up in jail. I know that's Riley's opinion about if she was poor, but Lisa wouldn't have had all the pressures of the fame and all the other stuff to, in a sense, mold her and shape her. She wouldn't have had an allegedly abusive stepfather type of figure around and a mother that didn't pay attention to her. Anyways, let's go back here. Back to Lisa. In California, when I was with my mother, I had a nanny named Yuki Koshimada. Yuki was a short Japanese woman, and she took really good care of me. She was always there. She wrote to me until the day she died. I would get Christmas cards every Christmas, every birthday, even when I got married and had children. Whenever we dropped Yuki off at her house for the weekend or her time off, I would scream. I remember being in the car with my mom driving away, and I would be screaming at the top of my lungs, watching us drive out of view of her. I was so attached to her. That is tragic. That detail, Priscilla fans, that's tragic. You know what that says? I have a mother that's abusive. I have a father figure in the house that's abusive. I would rather live my life with a woman named Yuki Koshimada because she cared about me. That's what that says. That is what it says, and that is as damning as you can be against Priscilla Presley. That this little girl, who was 9 or 10, whatever the year was, 11, 12, one of those years. Horrible. That is horrible. That breaks my heart, and it has to break your heart as well. Leaving Graceland and flying out of Memphis International Airport to go back to LA was a true emotional trauma for me. As soon as I got out of the car in Memphis, though, I would completely transform. I never wanted to leave. I loved everything about it. I love the weather. I love the storms. I love the cold, the sound of the birds, the fireflies. I love the people. I love the smells. One of my favorite snapshot memories, I was around 7 or 8, was of getting off the plane in Memphis, looking down and seeing snow. Now, real quick here. Let's go back here. This could have been before Elvis died, possibly. It doesn't really have a date. Regardless, she didn't want to be with her mom. Maybe Michael Edwards wasn't involved in that, but she didn't want to have nothing to do with Mama, her mother. All right, so one of my favorite snapshot memories, I was around 7 or 8, was getting off the plane in Memphis, looking down and seeing snow. There were times I would be in school in LA, and I would see a black car pull up. Then someone would come to the classroom to get me, and it was to go see him. They'd put me on a plane and fly to wherever he was. It was usually on a whim. He would tell someone, go get her. And then I would go be brought wherever he was. I waited for that car to show up. It was always a black one, usually a Mercedes or a limousine. And I felt like my life was the best life whenever that car came around. Sometimes he would fly back with me. I got to cover that because there's some cuss words. And he would land the effing plane too. At the end of the trip, he would get on the co-pilot seat, which made everyone nervous, and announce, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. Elvis is going to land the plane. I'd think, can I get off? And I would tighten my seatbelt as tight as I could. And then I just remember everyone applauding as we landed because we were alive. We were alive. That's where I'm going to leave it, page 41. Okay? I wanted to bring some to you. Maybe this is not as long a video as we've had before. Leave me a comment. I'm going to play some music here for you while you leave the comment there. All right, so before we sign out for the evening here, or the morning or the afternoon, whenever you're listening to it, somebody did ask me to sing a little snippet live. Now, you know I sing some Elvis Presley stuff sometimes too, but I'm not going to do that. But I was going to sing you a little bit of Elvis is Alive and All of Us. Keep in mind, I'm tired. My voice is pretty shot. Excuse me. I've been working all week long and doing voiceovers when I'm not working. So anyways, we say thank you to the mailman We say our grace and our amens, live our life in God we trust. Yeah, Elvis is alive in all of us. Anyhow, I really greatly appreciate everybody's compliments and all that stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for Elvis, I wouldn't be a singer. I wouldn't have never picked up a guitar. I wouldn't have never played music, probably. He was just really the sole inspiration. And I didn't start out as a guitar player, singer, songwriter. I was a trumpet player, piano player. I first played trumpet at 5, and then piano around 8 or 9. But anyways, it really was Elvis. Elvis that gave me that love of music. So TCB, TLC, I greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all. You got my heart. And I'm so glad y'all have Elvis's back and Lisa's back. So until next time, I'm out of here. This is Rare Elvis Photos.